Hello, I want to talk to you about abandoned houses. Now, I've always been fascinated by abandoned houses since I was a child. Now, of course, since I got into real estate as an adult, I know the dangers of going into an abandoned house. But when we were children, there were some pals of mine that used to go into abandoned houses and find pocketbooks or whatever. Some of the boys in the neighborhood, they would go get the wood, probably for a fire or just to build. I know this one family, they were always building go-karts. So people do go into abandoned houses. However, I do not recommend you go into an abandoned house. If you're thinking about buying an abandoned house, go to the city offices first to see if there's a lien against the house, a tax lien or other kind of lien against the house. Number one, and to see if that needs asbestos testing. Now, it only costs the city $14 to do an asbestos test, okay? But they're going to charge you $4,000, so you may not want to pay that. Now, you gotta understand, all abandoned houses have already been stripped. They've been stripped of all the plumbing, all the electrical wiring, anything that people perceive of value. The ceiling's about to collapse. Floors have holes in it. That's why I definitely don't suggest you walk into an abandoned house. I know you see that on a lot of these YouTube channels, Explorer and stuff like that. I don't recommend you do it. Do not go upstairs if an abandoned house has 2 stories. I tell you why. Because if you go upstairs, you could easily fall down on the first floor. Because like I said, the ceiling is weak. It's been abandoned for a long time. Everything upstairs is weak. So you could fall. And how are the police going to catch you? Because your cell phone's going to go flying to who knows where. So I do not recommend you even go into an abandoned house. I think they are very dangerous. There are 2 types of abandoned houses. One you can repair and one you can't. The majority of the ones that I have seen you cannot repair. You really can't. Just put some drywall up and you got a house. That's not how it is. A lot of these abandoned houses have been stripped. There's holes in the wall, holes in the ceiling. So I think the majority of the houses you cannot repair. So, like I said, go to the city. See if there's a lien against the property. See if you need to do asbestos testing. Okay, so what you have to do is build the house from scratch. But you might want to keep the foundation. I know I had a house that had a really good foundation. It was stonework, real nice, expensive to do now. But if you do buy a house, an abandoned house, you may keep the foundation, but everything else ain't no good. Nothing else is any good. Okay, so go ahead and get your building permit, etc. Get a roofer to take the shingles off the roof, because when that house collapses, those shingles are going to fly everywhere. So get a roofer just to take those shingles off the roof, throw that in the dumpster. The next thing you do is the windows. Okay, the windows, because like I said, when the house collapses, that glass is going to go flying everywhere. Take the windows out, the frame out. And then the last thing you do is the doors. Now, the 5th thing you do, you decide which direction you want the house to fall. Now, if there are houses on either side, I think it's always better to let it fall towards the back. If you let it fall towards the front, it could be a street. A street there. You don't want to do that with cars, okay? So I recommend let the house fall towards the back. While the roofer is up there, get him to put some tarp. Not 5x8 tarp. I'm talking about like a 10x8 tarps around the house, because when the house collapses, you don't want all that debris flying either on the road or on a neighbor's house. If there are 2 neighbors on each side of the house, like I said, I recommend you let it collapse in the back. Okay, so now that you've gotten the windows out, the doors out, the shingles out, go take some planks out in the back. And be sure to take out those 2 corners in the back. Okay, so you've already have the tarp over the house. It's going to take about 24 hours for that house to collapse. So you need to get out of there, get out of the yard. Be sure before you do any of this, when you're demolishing a house, be sure to put some kind of barrier so kids will not go in the yard, because those are very dangerous. So it's going to take about 24 hours for that house to collapse on the ground. Okay, if you have a neighbors on either side of you, like I said, use some tarp to cover that, because you don't want that debris flying on the neighbor's house. Definitely, you don't want the debris flying in the roadway if you have it going towards the front. You don't want it to go towards the front. Not usually. Like I said, overall, I recommend let the direction go in the fall. Okay. Now, like I said, wait 24 hours before the house collapses, and then you just pick up the sticks. Pick up like the little game we used to play when we were kids. Pick up sticks. So you just have to pick up sticks very carefully. But look, this is what I recommend you do before you even do that. Clear the yard. The yard may have rusty iron in it. You have to get that up. Glass in it. You have to get that up because you have to have somewhere to park. Cut the grass as much as you can because you have to have somewhere to park and somewhere to walk. But like I said, in the process of all of this, I definitely recommend that you cut the grass first. Okay, so you have somewhere to park and somewhere to walk. And okay, if you look at the size of the house, and you can get some house plans from Lowe's or Home Depot. You can get these books off of Amazon. House plan for small lots, 50 by 100 lots or whatever. I do recommend that you get some house plans so you can decide what type of house you want to build. But like I said, if you have an abandoned house, I do not recommend you go inside the house. Have a nice day.